Hey everybody, it's me. This is Kim at Big Sense. How have you guys been doing? Did you miss me? You know what? I've missed you guys. I've been kind of sitting back a little bit and trying to think of some great things that I want to talk about. And one thing in particular comes to my mind is everything that has been happening with the pandemic. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I guess I'm in my feelings a little bit. So before I go any further, I want you to hit the subscribe button right at the bottom because I can't continue to make all these great films without people hitting that subscribe button, like, and share. That's how I'm able to grow so I can continue to show you guys some great videos. Trying to keep everything going. So I wanted to start off by doing that first. So again, this is Big Sense. This is Kim coming at you, that big sister. And I wanted to talk about the subject of where were you when the pandemic happened? Where were you when that pandemic happened? You know what? If I'm not mistaken, when that pandemic first happened, I was at work. And I can remember the chaos that was going on. I saw a whole lot of supervisors gathering together, and they were talking about, what was going on in meetings. And then all of a sudden, they started calling each person in one by one, coming to the office, and they were starting to prepare us to pack up our things and take it home. Well, a lot of fear kicked in because this was going to be, I know, my first time working from home. So when you're at work, you always have a go-to when you have questions. Well, this time you don't have a go-to. You're on your own. So I can remember a whole lot of fear entering into my spirit. And I knew that I was going to have to get rid of that in order for me to be successful on my job. So that is one thing that happened once we were told that we were in a pandemic and things was getting ready to change. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about change, but I tell you what, I'm not real good with the transition. It just don't work for me. Change, that is hard because it's going to cause you to do something outside of the box that you're not prepared for or even ready for. And that's normally the time when it kicks in, is when it's time for a change. And then you're also dealing with the fear because you don't know what's going to happen. It's beyond your control. So you just have to keep pushing and moving. One thing that I do remember is I wasn't the only one that was in that situation. The whole world was in that situation. It doesn't mean that it made everything feel better because, no, it really didn't. But it did give me a peace of mind in knowing that I wasn't the only one that knew what was going on. I didn't know what was happening, and my neighbors didn't either. We was just going to try to make the best of it, of the opportunity that came our way. I do remember talking all the time about wanting to work from home. I just didn't know it was going to happen that quick. You know that old saying, be careful what you ask for, you just might get it. Not only did I get it, looks like the whole world got it too. Everybody started working from home. How did you feel about that? Are you working from home? Do you enjoy being at home working? It's kind of different, right? It feels pretty good being independent and you don't have anyone standing over you. But at the same time, I kind of sort of miss being with people because I love to get dressed up and go into the office and kind of mix and mingle a little bit with everybody. So that was different because now I was mixing and mingling with my family in the home. And they was constantly asking me that question, why are you getting dressed up to come to the kitchen to work? Well, when you've been doing something for so long, I was in routine. It's hard to break a routine. It is hard to break a routine. So it was a couple of months I kept it up. You know, I continued to put on my heels and my clothes as if I was getting ready to leave. And I walked right on into the kitchen and sat down with my desk and my chair. And I went from there. The next thing that I want to kind of discuss is um, who took a transfer out of your life in the pandemic? And what I mean by that is who left? Who's no longer in your life? Who took a transfer? And when I say take a transfer, it could be maybe you no longer just really talk to that best friend that you had. You know, maybe you guys have drifted away a little bit and they're doing their own thing and now you're doing your own thing. Um, Maybe a significant other have transferred out of your life because you have found some things that, or you have discovered some things that you don't like. And now you two don't, you don't get along anymore. Who took a transfer? Was it family? Maybe the things that the family used to do when you guys would get together, you was able to tolerate it, but now it have just gotten to a point where you just can't tolerate it, or you've outgrown situations, so you just kind of keep to yourself. You know, so many things is happening right now in this pandemic. It's just beginning to provoke a whole lot of thought for me, where I have to ask the question, what's really going on? You know, is this pandemic happening in order to shake us up and to make us start thinking outside of the box? Because it's no longer business as usual anymore. A lot of changes have occurred, situations are happening, and now we're being forced to deal with ourselves because we're all supposed to keep our distance. So now you have to reinvent yourself. Another question comes to my mind. What did you gain from the pandemic? Did you gain anything from this pandemic? Well, I'll tell you a couple of things that I've gained. I've gained a lot of things. One, I'm talking to you on YouTube. Big Sense. Trying to create my own business. That's one thing. And I'm able to think outside the box. Show you guys some material to see if you like it. You know, I like to talk. So it's giving me the opportunity to kind of let you watch me transition in my life. So maybe you'll step out and start doing some things that you never thought that you was able to do. So let's see. I'm trying to think of some more things that I have gained since this pandemic happened. Working independent. You know, I'm the type of person where I felt like, you know, it was kind of good to have that person over you on the job to kind of, you know, watch every now and then, making sure that everything is getting done. But I've discovered you don't need that. I don't need that babysitter. I know how to work and do my job if I've been trained to do it. There's no problem. I know what my responsibilities are. So it have helped me to grow up. You know, I no longer need that security blanket. I can work independently. I've always worked independently. Just the fact of being in that surrounding with people being around me at all times, you start to get used to that. So that was one thing that I feel like I gained. I gained my independence. Another thing that it looks like we are gaining is, you know, that income. Because you're not really going out like you used to, starting to save a whole lot of money. And I can't tell you what the gas bill looks like. You know, I'm really saying I'm winning. I'm winning out here with that gas bill. Now, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people. I have some friends that have lost jobs. But one thing that they did start gaining was that unemployment. And they have also had the opportunity to reinvent themselves and have found other jobs. And they're a little bit more happier doing what they're now doing with more income. And let's not forget about them old pandemic checks. That those I know you're screaming it to me right now. I can't even think of what it is because I'm sitting here on camera. Um, but you know what I'm talking about. When we started getting those checks from the government, that really helped. They helped me to be able to take care of a couple of things that I've been wanting to take care of. There it is, the stimulus checks. Those stimulus checks, they have really helped out. So I'm real glad about that. Ain't you glad about that? What did you do with your stimulus check? You know you spent that money. Or did you keep it? Either way, it's yours. And I can't wait to get this next one because I got some plans for it. I got some plans. The next thing that comes to my mind in regards to the pandemic is what have you learned about yourself in this pandemic? What have you learned about yourself? Well, you know what? Saying I love you to people was a real big thing. I wasn't real big on doing that, but it have taught me to understand that tomorrow is not yours. It's not yours. And it's a blessing if you wake up and you're able to see it. So telling people that I love you today, it's kind of like leaving something behind if something was to happen to me, insurance, that I was able and I was given the opportunity to be good or to do good to people or for people. So that's one thing that I learned about myself. The next thing, I don't take things for granted. Nothing is promised to us. And we just don't know what's going to occur. Because about a year ago, I never would have thought this would have happened to our country. But it did. And it slowed everything down. Everything stopped. And we were forced to be in the house. And it's just like the world is we have been put on punishment. And we're being forced to deal with ourselves. So when we come back outside, we have more gratitude. And we'll be happy to see everybody. And one thing that I hope that we all gain from this is love. To truly learn how to love people the way that we want to be loved. Putting our differences to the side and being able to share and teach and talk to each other. Finally. We don't need to learn about violence or hurting each other. We have enough of that out here. It's time for us to start coming together and loving each other. That's what we don't have. And it's time. It's time for the earth to heal. And we get the opportunity to change that. We the people are able to put our differences to the side. And we can make this world become whatever it is that we want it to become. So let's start with love. Start loving on each other in order to make this world a better place for you and for me. You know the song. Come on now. Don't make me start preaching. So I am so excited. At first, I looked at the pandemic like it was a bad thing. And yes, a lot of bad things did happen. But you know what? In order to enjoy the good times, you got to have the bad. So, this is Big Sense. I'm so happy we was able to talk about this and come together. And as always, I love you guys. And I can't wait to see you again.